I would consider myself to be a pretty international person, you know. I have 2 passports. I'm a citizen of 2 different countries. I've lived abroad on and off in a country other than my home country for the last 6 or so years. I have gotten the opportunity to travel to a lot of different countries. I've got friends and people that I know in all sorts of places. My YouTube channel here reaches people in every single country, and I get messages and perspectives from people in different countries. I'm a lord of Scotland, but at the heart of everything, I am, of course, American. You know, I always say I really like living in Germany, but I'm also happy that I grew up in the States. I like being from the United States. And I think it's because I have this idealized, romanticized vision of my home country in my head. I mean, I think it's because I have this image, sort of what the United States represents. Like, I mean, I am the descendant of people who picked up everything they had in Europe and left to go start a new life, to ride a boat across the Atlantic Ocean and move to a place they'd never been before, to start a new life in this place that represented opportunity and the chance for a better life. When we went to Italy earlier this month, before the trip, I bought myself a fiction book called Never by the author Ken Follett. And I absolutely devoured this book. I hadn't felt this way about a fiction book since reading Harry Potter years ago. So after reading Never, I bought a whole trilogy of books by this guy, Ken Follett, and this is the first one of the trilogy, called The Fall of Giants. And this is basically historical fiction. Right now they're talking about what's happening in World War I with fictional characters. And it's actually a great way to learn about history. Super interesting. Now, of course, like I said, this is fiction, but it's historically accurate fiction. And in this book, the way that the European characters, the German characters, the British characters, the French characters, speak about Americans and about the United States with admiration. It's really cool to me. And then at the same time, it makes me kind of sad because it doesn't seem like people in Europe, Germans, feel the same way about Americans in the United States today.
And it doesn't just feel this way. This is backed up by numbers from Pew Research. Favorable views of the United States are at a record low, with Germany being one of the countries in Europe with the lowest percentage of people having a favorable view of the United States.
Aside from Belgium, Germany has the lowest percentage of favorable views of the US in Europe. Man, America is such a land of extremes. I feel like we're always at the extreme top of things and the extreme bottom of things. You've got the richest, and you've got the poorest. You've got the fittest, you've got the fattest, you've got the smartest, you've got the dumbest. Everything is so extreme. You can find everything at each end of the spectrum in the United States. And it seems to me that everybody always focuses on the negative of the United States. And I don't think it's unfair that people often will focus on the negative aspects of the extremes in the United States, especially with a country like the US, which I think has so much potential and in certain categories does not live up to that potential. But, you know, sometimes I do wish that people would see that there are some positive aspects of the United States. For example, beer. Germany obviously has a fantastic reputation for beer, and I can attest for that firsthand. And the United States actually does not have a good reputation for beer, and I agree. The macro beers in the US are horrible. A Bud Light, a Budweiser, to me, is undrinkable. And that is the reputation that the US has for this specific category. But the United States is so big, it's so hard to generalize everything under one umbrella. And if you go by a state-by-state basis, actually, say in Portland, Oregon, where I'm from, for example, there are phenomenal microbrews. Beers that I would say are drinkable. Not just drinkable, actually, but pretty damn good. I'm not going to say they're better than German beers, that's hard to beat, but they're in the same ballpark. And they certainly don't deserve the bad reputation that American beer carries. And by the way, guys, while I have it here, since I don't think I've mentioned it at all on Instagram or YouTube, my documentary Unicorn Town is now out streaming on all platforms in the United States. And if you're outside the United States, in any country, in Germany, in Europe, wherever, a lot of people are telling me that they're having success renting and purchasing the movie using a VPN and renting on Vudu or YouTube and paying via PayPal. This is what I'm hearing. So if you're outside the US, I would give that a shot. Thank you so much for everyone who's watched so far, giving it a rating, a review, left comments about it. Everything you guys do helps, so I really appreciate that. All right, enough about the movie, Nick. Shut up. See, an interesting figure is that among the first world developed nations, the United States spends the most money per capita on healthcare, but we have the worst life expectancy of these countries. But on the flip side of that, you learn that the United States is actually the world leader when it comes to healthcare innovation and figuring out new medical practices and techniques. So you've got the negative and you've got the positive. Now listen, I'm not naive or unaware of what these reasons are that make people sort of look down on the United States. I know them all, and I've had every single conversation you can have with a German person about all of these issues, so I'm fully aware and I understand. I just sometimes wish that people could also see that there are positive things about the United States and maybe not feel so negatively towards the entire country as a whole. I think that's sort of what I'm hoping for. There's a pretty cool scene from the TV show The Newsroom where the character that Jeff Daniels plays says this about the United States.
We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy.
Now, I'm not playing the whole clip because then the video would get blocked, but if you want to watch the whole thing, the link is in the description. I think I sort of feel like that character. I long for a time where the world will perhaps feel this way about the United States again. All right, guys, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.